we're going to go ahead and start sketching for our value webs here. So a value web is basically where we're going to create layers that kind of look like they're stretched on top of each other. And then we're going to shade darker and darker as we go back into space. So the first thing we're going to have to do is to create our template for our sketches. So I'm going to have you guys go ahead and mark, let's go like this. So we're going to go across our spiral 4 inches and make a tick mark. And then you're going to do it again at the very bottom of your sketchbook. And I'm using an HB pencil so that you can see you can do this in a 4H pencil as well, because that's good for sketching. So that's 4 inches across. And then we're going to go across this way. We're going to make a 5 tick mark on both sides, so 5 inches. And you have to be very exact about this so that it matches up with what we're doing here. So then I'm going to go ahead and find half of 5, which should be 2.5. And then half of 4, which is 2. And then we're going to go ahead and connect. So we're going to do 4 sketches. And when you're sketching, you can think about the composition either being a vertical, right, where it goes up and down, like my example, or you can think of it as being a horizontal, so you can do it this way. I'm going to go ahead and work right here, but we're going to do these sketches 2.5 by 4, because when we enlarge them, they're going to be 4 by 5. But if you want to sketch bigger, you can also do it this way, where you measure 4 again. And you can sketch like full size. However, you still have to do 3 of these, so you're going to have to measure them out as well. I'm going to go ahead and sketch right here, and I'm going to have you guys follow along with the directions. So the first thing I want you to do is to create 3 large, actually, let's take that back, 3 or more large shapes, and you can pick any shape that you want, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and do kind of like an oval sort of shape. So the shapes don't have to always fit on the paper. They can go a little bit bigger if you like. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in here just a little bit for you guys. I can have the whole thing in, right? And then, right? And so I can, I want to have very little of this kind of space in between the shapes left. So you want to make these shapes pretty large, right? So keep that in mind when you're drawing them out. And so after you have drawn at least 3, and you can do more. So if you wanted to put like another one here, you really could too. I really think it's interesting when the spacing in between isn't exactly the same. So see how close this is. This is a little bit farther. This is even farther. That makes it much more interesting overall at the end. And so once we have that done, we're going to go ahead and lightly shade in your 3 shapes or more shapes, so your shapes. Okay, so make sure you write these directions down as you go. So go ahead and shade them in. Craftsmanship doesn't have to be perfect, but you do want to get practice of kind of staying in the line. I'm making this a rather light value, so don't press too hard. We're going to be going darker as we go back into the distance. So go ahead and be drawing this one alongside with me. This is going to be our practice sketch. and then you'll do 3 independently here, okay? So then, in the next layer, inside your shapes, right? So inside your shapes, you're gonna do 2 to 3, you could even do more shapes as well. Now with these shapes, you guys have a little bit of choice. Maybe you want them to still be large, but you can also make them medium, you know, or small to create more depth if you want to. And one of the things I really like to do is kind of connect these shapes together. So I can make it look like this one continues here, right? And then eventually what you'll do is you'll shade that one more darkness. So you have 1, 2, 3 values already. So go ahead and break these up. Follow along with me. I like to shade in one consistent direction here. So you just want to make sure there's more than one. Excuse that interruption. All right, so you have 2, 3, 2, 3. So notice how it's getting darker and darker. So shade your shapes, right, from step 3. Okay, and then I want you to do this process one more time. So same sort of thing. So inside those shapes, do 2 to 3 or more shapes again, and then shade those in. And you're going to shade those into the darkest. So when you're done, you need to have at least 4 layers of value. Now the cool thing about this is that you can do even more. So maybe with this one, I'm going to do a shape here. Maybe it continues even in this one. And you can even switch pencils. So if you want to grab maybe your 4B so it goes even darker, you can do that. Now, if some of these, you know, gets really difficult to do 2 or more, that's okay. Just do your best to make it so that it's not too boring. But I really like to try to look at like it connects through. So you got your 4. Okay, so what you're going to do right now is after you've done your practice, you're going to repeat the process here, following the directions that you wrote down. If you didn't write them down, I need you to do it right now.